I'm Bill Lenderman. This is one of a series of monthly discussions to be held one time a month on Friday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. The purpose of the discussions is to provide insights into concepts people may not know or don't fully understand, to correct misconceptions about important issues, and to build a community of wise and thoughtful people who know how to use money as a tool. When this portion of the discussion is finished, I'll open up, for people who are able to attend live, I'll open up the discussion to those who would like to participate. In today's topic, I'd like to share some ideas with you in terms of putting together what you might consider to be a perfect investment. This may not be as simple and as easy as many people think, and I think by the time we get done with this little discussion, I think you'll understand why. This information was produced by the Wealth and Wisdom Institute, of which I am a part, and I think the information is also very, very valuable in terms of this discussion. There's something we'll call the money matrix. The idea is to determine what kind of characteristics does an investment have to have in order to be ideal for each one of our personal differing circumstances. Understanding money is critically important for determining our future. It's obvious that most of the folks, maybe all of the folks that are viewing this presentation have done things well in the past based on the choices they've been given. But the more information we have, the easier it is to make good decisions and would be less likely to make a mistake in the process. Let's look for a moment at how money works. It's called a defining moment. Once we understand that money is a tool and properly used, it can be very effective. We're well on our way to success. Let's create the perfect investment. Now let's look at some of the issues that we might want to discuss. Would we want a lot of risk involved with our money investing? I'm going to assume most people would say no. They just don't feel like gambling. Next, would we like to have guarantees? I should think so, because losses can be detrimental to our future. Would we like any penalties to be associated with the money, or would we like to be penalty-free? Well, I guess the answer is no. Would you like to have full access to your money when you need it? And I'm assuming the answer is yes. Would you want your money protected from creditors or lawsuits, things like that? I would think so. Leverage. Would you want to create the most wealth possible using the least amount of money? Again, I would think that would be a yes. Would you want your money to grow tax deferred? Again, yes. Would you want your money to be given to you tax-free? For instance, if you take a pension or a passive income, well, let's say we do like it to be tax-free. Again, these are ideals. Would you want your money to be available to use as collateral for loans? A person might need to make a loan to buy a business or to purchase something important that could be profitable. Doing so, if they have collateral, makes it a lot easier. So we'll put yes. When you put your money into whatever it is, do you want the payments to be tax deductible? Well, I think that would certainly be attractive. If you became disabled with an income that stops, costs don't stop, expenses don't stop. So the question then is, would you like to have the option that if you can't put any money in because you're out of work or disabled in some way, and then the money would be put in for you? That would seem to be a positive. Would you like the assets to be transferred to your family or your heirs or a charity, tax-free? I assume the answer is yes. Now, here's the money matrix. Let's look at the different kinds of investments and determine how they fit into those ideals. Here are the government programs like IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, things of that sort. Wherever something is green, that means it meets that particular criteria. For instance, an IRA or 401k is tax deferred, and the money that's put in is tax deductible. You notice there are a number of red areas. Those are areas where they do not meet our criteria. The yellow indicate that at times it might meet the criteria and other times not. For instance, liquidity. If you were to take money out of an IRA and 401k, you're going to pay income tax, you're going to pay a penalty if you're under 59 and a half. So liquidity means free access to your money without loss. Well, that could be an enormous loss. Protected against creditors. Well, the states determine that. So an IRA or 401k meet two of the perfect criteria, might meet two more. A brokerage account. It does meet one criteria. You could have quick access to your money by calling your stockbroker, and you might not have any penalties. Otherwise, there's no match. A home. Remember in our discussions, a home is a wonderful thing and necessary to have, of course, but it's a liability. A liability is something that costs you money. An asset is something that does or can make you money. Well, it meets a few more of the criteria. There aren't any penalties in owning a home, and it could be used as collateral as long as you're healthy and as long as you have a job, so that the money that's involved in your house could be utilized. But you notice there are four areas where it's questionable value. CDs, bank savings, don't meet most of the criteria, but they do meet the criteria of liquidity. The bank doesn't give you any guarantee. The FDIC says they do. That's a questionable guarantee. And now, especially after the experience in Cyprus, where not only Cyprus, but the United States of America, Canada, and the European Union have all passed laws saying that if a bank fails, the people who get punished are the depositors who have savings accounts. And it's their money that will be stolen to make the bank whole when the bank has bet its money and lost. Annuities. They meet four of the criteria, one for sure and three possibly. So that's another option. Real estate has two positive benefits and three more that are possible. Well, now the question becomes, is there anything that meets more than 20 or 30% of the criteria that we consider perfect? Here are your answers on each of these things. I don't want risk, I do want guarantees, and so forth. Again, is there anything that meets basically all those criteria? Well, let's take a look. There is such a thing. And what I'd like to suggest is that you give me a call and we can discuss this very thing that seems to be an absolute ideal probably for basically everybody. Sometimes people ask for things not realizing the implications of what they ask. Sometimes the world doesn't show us exactly what we're looking for. And so sometimes there are things we want, what we get is totally different. And hopefully with good counsel, this kind of a mistake could be avoided. There may be an opportunity just right in front of you. I've seen this over and over again. People have the resources to accomplish their goals, but they just don't understand what they are and how to use them. Question becomes, how can you say yes or no to an idea you never even heard of and don't know exists? There are a lot of products available all throughout the nation and the world. They are simply tools to use money in one fashion or another. The key is the strategy. A person, if they know where they're going, where they're starting, what they're going to have to do to get there, can then begin to analyze the different financial tools that could get them where they want to go. In your end, the strategies are probably much more important than some product or rates of return. It's important to know how money works for you. Then you can determine thoughtfully what you can do and what resources you can use to accomplish the goals you have set. I hope you find this discussion to be of value. And if you have questions, you're always welcome to give me a call. And my number is 915-595-2751 at the office. And you could, if you miss me, you could always make an appointment to talk at a time that's convenient to you, and we can get together, and I'll be happy to answer your questions and help if I can. We have Jerry Lohman is not on this conversation, but he's also perfectly capable of helping you if you have questions, and we have a professional and dedicated staff as well. I hope you've enjoyed this information and find it worthwhile.